Hi, this is Zoe from the Whisper Tree, which is my centre here in Lutterworth, Leicestershire, UK. And in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about crystal magic and just how I work with crystals. We're going to be talking about how they're formed, how we can connect in more with them, how they can support us on so many different levels, how to keep them clear energetically, and also how to divine them up so that we know that the crystal that we divine up is the perfect one for us and what we need to be working more with at that particular moment in time. Okay, so we're going to start first of all with just thinking a little bit about how crystals occur. They are naturally occurring, they form naturally within the earth. The majority form within the earth, to the best of my knowledge. I mean, it's one of those things that you could probably spend a lifetime studying. I only know what I know through my own personal experience and how I work with them. But this is what I've kind of gleaned along the way. So as far as I'm aware, most of them, or the majority of them, do occur naturally within the earth. Some do occur differently. So you've got your ambers, which occur or come from resins, like tree sap. They are still called and considered a crystal. You know, and they kind of connect us in with the dry airs, the tree spirits, which is lovely, very grounding as well. You also have fulgurite, which is a crystal which is formed when lightning strikes sand. So it's a very kind of brittle brown colour. It's tubular and hollow. And you also have some crystals that are formed when meteorites, when you get a meteorite shower, and you will have had crystals that form from that on the earth in different areas. So basically what we do need to know is that crystals are mined and sourced all over the world. They come in kind of very varying degrees, colours, quality as well. And just be careful when you are sourcing your crystals. You do get crystals that are dyed. For example, I know white howlite is sometimes dyed this kind of bright blue colour so that people mistake it for turquoise. I don't know whether they're deliberately, you know, people are deliberately trying to mislead you. That's not what I'm saying, but you do be aware that some crystals are dyed to look like others, so that can happen. So just kind of really do your research when you're wanting to get hold of crystals. So how do crystals help us? Well, again, this is from what I've learned and what I understand. So I'm just going to give you a very, very kind of maybe oversimplified explanation of how I understand that their kind of power and how that and why they are so powerful and magical, because I really feel that from them. So crystals are obviously naturally occurring, and they have within them what we call geometrical formation. So they hold and within them is weaved this kind of sacred geometry, if you like. So if I have my little bit of amethyst here. I have crystals all over the house. I wear crystal jewellery. I just love, you know, having it about my person, having it near me. And this is just one little bit. I have a few of my little babies here to show you in this video. But can you see how it's naturally occurred in these sort of point formations? And if you look closely, it's faceted, and they're actually geologically structured. You know, you've got triangles, you've got all sorts of geometric shapes held within it. Now these shapes, like light, hold a certain frequency or a certain vibration. And this is one, and it is high, it's of a high frequency, and this is why crystals work in the way that they do. They impact on the body through their frequencies, through the energy that they give out. You know, everything within nature is of energy. If you know, if we put a part of our body under a microscope, it will just simply be vibrating, because we are made of energy, and this energy impacts on everything in our reality, everything around us, as does everything around us impact on us. And this geometrical formation here that we see holds a higher vibration of this energy, so it impacts on us in a very, very good way. And as does, you know, as I said, everything in nature has this sacred geometry woven within it, geometrical structural formation woven within it. Some it's really obvious, some it's not. You know, we are of a geometric formation as well ourselves. But if you look at things like pine cones, pineapples, fish scales, snowflakes, water has a crystalline structure, a geometric structure as well. These are just some of the obvious ones. So that is why they feel the way they do. Honeycomb as well, the bees' honeycomb is another one, which is really obvious. But as I said, this is why they feel, you know, crystals in particular feel of such a high frequency, why they really uplift us and support us in many magical ways. So every crystal that you see in here, I've got here an Andara. This is a volcanic crystal. This came from Hawaii. I've got my amethyst, and obviously my quartz. I've got quartz points, and then just one single quartz point here. This is the one that I use in meditation a lot when I'm running energy. But each individual crystal has a crystal fairy within it, or an elemental being within it. They coexist, so the crystal and its elemental coexist. They sustain each other through their own life force and energy. But this elemental acts as a gatekeeper, so within each crystal is held a certain amount of wisdom and knowledge that is released. You know, the elemental releases it when the guardian of the crystal is ready to hear that information. So when they're mastering more, I guess, in their spirituality. This is how I understand it. Because as you master more, and this is what I found in my own kind of spiritual journey, is that you open up so much more to the power of the crystals, and you start gridding with them. You know, you can go into different realms with them. I mean, they just open up a whole new aspect of yourself, you know, once you know how to harness their energies. Now, the colours of the crystals, as I said, they come in so many different colours, sizes, etc., form, shapes. But the colours do give an indication of what part of the body, what area of the body they will be supporting. So hopefully you've heard of the chakras, which kind of makes my teaching easier if you have. The chakras are kind of energy centres held within the body and around the body. There are many, many different chakras, but if we take the 7 main chakras within the body, you have the root chakra, which is the pelvic area. You have the sacral, which is kind of the navel, belly button area. So the sacral is red in colour, associated with the colour red. The navel is associated with orange. The solar plexus is just under the rib cage, where the diaphragm is, around that area. This is what's called our power center, and it's associated with yellow. Then we have our heart chakra, which is associated with pinks and greens and blues as well, depending on which chamber of the heart we're talking about. The throat chakra is blues, or your blues, indigos. Your third eye chakra is your purple, so amethyst would be the obvious one for here. And crown chakra is violet and white kind of colours. So, for example, if you have a purple amethyst, you know that it's associated with this area, the third eye chakra. Amethyst is a very well-known, like quartz, is a very well-known crystal, and it's a good all-rounder because it just transmutes negativity. We're always releasing negativity, aren't we, in our environment? So these crystals, these babies here, they kind of suck it up and transmute it and clean it out, and, you know, just support us in that way. They support us in different ways as well, but you know, it supports us kind of on a more spiritual level in this way primarily. On a physical, it's all about the inner ear, like balance issues, you know, hearing, all that sort of thing. It's vision as well, so our physical sight is being supported, our front lobal area is being supported as well. So it's all the glands, all the surrounding organs that will be helped and supported by the crystals. Also certain conditions in these areas as well will be helped and supported by the crystals of that associated colour. On an emotional level, amethyst, I'll just show you that up again so you can connect in a little bit more, tune in. But on an emotional level, it enhances our sense of self-worth. And then on a more spiritual level, so when you're mastering more, it purifies. So it purifies our intent, the way we use our power, our emotions. And it also gives us clarity in our perception of how we see things. So it's, as you can start to appreciate, each crystal, and there are many, many different types, can support us on so many different levels. Quartz is definitely worth mentioning here. I have a lot of quartz because quartz is known, and it's a very well-known one. I imagine that people that don't even really kind of work or use crystals will have heard of quartz. It's a very, very common one, but because it is also known as a master or power crystal, like white light, it's like all the crystals combined, so it's incredibly powerful for us. And it also enables us to channel through the points, channel through white light, which is one of the kind of frequencies that I use as a transference healer. So for me, it's an incredibly powerful and useful crystal to have near me. As I said, this one I use in meditation, and when I'm running energy on myself, I use this one here. So, you know, there are different types of quartz. You've got smoky quartz, you've got rainbow quartz, you've got rutilated quartz, you've got, I mean, I as I said, I'm only just kind of tapping into them. I have a lot, but, you know, I'm not that versed in crystal technology, although I run it within what I do, within the modality that I work with. But, you know, you could spend a lifetime looking at and working and learning about crystals. But I feel I know enough now to be able to do what I do. But these are two, the amethyst and the quartz that I would suggest you do get. If you don't have any, maybe start with those because they can really help to support you already. So how would we connect more in with them? Well, there is many ways that you could do that. Ways that I do is that, as I said, I have what I like to call little sacred places all around my home, or like I suppose they're altars really. So, you know, I have candles, I have plants, fresh flowers on little tables, or, you know, my bedside table, and I have crystals just to hold the space. So if I'm meditating or just doing some kind of introspective work, I have those crystals there to help me. When I have clients come for one-to-one sessions with me, I have, you know, all my crystals set up so they can support and amplify the energy that I'm running. Another gorgeous way, which is what I love to do, is to have crystal jewelry. Now I've just kind of indulged in a few pieces. So this is why I've still got my ticketing on here. I have a friend who makes these gorgeous pieces. I love the raw crystals. So as you can see, it just looks stunning. It's unusual, but it's also a lovely way to connect in with the crystal energies. I have another one here. It's just a little bit different. So they're quite similar really, style. I mean, they're all different ways, you know, loads of different jewelry out there. That's another one, that's a Drew's there, gorgeous. I wear a lot of these as well, these bracelets. What I try and do is divine up the bracelet and then choose the outfit to go with it, because I know that if I'm divining up or I'm drawn to a piece of jewelry, then that's just crystal jewelry, that's perfect for me. For that, you know, for that day or that moment. And then I have just like a choker, and I've had some crystals that I've got from different places and I've had them wrapped. But yeah, it's really my thing. I love the jewelry. You can keep them in your pockets. When crystals break, because they do unfortunately, I just simply put them in my plant pots. I used to have a vegetable patch where I put them in so they can just continue in existence there by supporting your plants. Some people put them in their drinking water. So you have things like Herkimer diamonds, which are a type of quartz that are sourced in the Herkimer counties, I think, in the United States. Now, just proceed with caution. Don't just go and put any old crystal in your drinking water, because some can be poisonous if drank. So just really do your research. But that's another way, you know, they clear and cleanse the water. It's another way they can support you. When you're mastering more in your spirituality, or if you know you're a healer and you're working more with the crystals, then what you'll find, like I did, is that they start to amplify the energy. You have you know, you work with them as you're running energy, you're holding the crystal or you're pointing it with them. You know, we work with wands and things like that, especially that are especially programmed. You can program crystals to run a particular type of frequency or energy. My sister works with crystals. She creates crystal grids, so she takes groups of people within the crystal template and grid that she creates into different realms. So she works like that with them. They can be included in vibrational essences. As transparent healers, we have crystal essences that are programmed, and we put them into a bottle of essence, make up a bottle of essence specifically for our clients. They could be used in sprays. As I said, you can have templates with crystals on them. So there's lots of different ways, and I'm sure you probably know of others as well. But these are just some of the ways that I've heard of and I use for myself. Oh, and some people like to put pieces of quite big crystals in the corners of their room, especially in healing rooms, just to amplify the energies in that way. So how to divine up? Well, how would you know what is the best crystal for you? Or say if you went to a crystal shop or somewhere that sells crystals, how do you know? Well, you would, or I would wait to be drawn to a crystal. I mean, I love crystals, and mine are just getting bigger and bigger. I've got some big pieces at home here. But sometimes I know I need a piece of amethyst because I'm working in a particular way, so I'll go along, but then which one? So I wait to be drawn to one. You can use your left hand and just kind of quiet yourself, go with it and set the intent to find the right one, and just run your hand, if I just sit up here, run your hands over the crystals. When it feels a little bit warm, your fingers or hand, or it tingles, you know that's the right one. That's how I divine up often if I'm using cards, working with cards or crystals. I do that often. Sometimes you'll be gifted a crystal. You know, someone's obviously tuned into you and just thought of you and has gifted you one like that, but that's a lovely way to receive crystals. So lastly, and just to finish off, how would I keep my crystals cleansed? This is really important practice, and it's a very honouring practice for your crystals. So I used to you know, put my crystals outside because, you know, nature is of such that it's a high frequency, it's a high vibration. You know, you can clear and cleanse your crystals and keep them charged if you keep them outside, especially in the moonlight, the sunlight. But I have lost many crystals that way because some are very fragile. They may get frosty, so that breaks them. So I don't do that now so much. I tend to just keep them in a space within my home, so that they can absorb the moonlight in particular, and especially at full moon or like a harvest moon, or you know, some like big moon, and that will charge them because they can fade in the sunlight, and as I said, they can get broken if it gets too cold at night. So I'll just really be careful with that. Don't run them under tap water. Just if you have a spring nearby, run them under that, but don't, just obviously be careful with the more powdery ones, or the more fragile ones, because that might not be good for them. Probably a really good way as well is to resin, so using white Californian sage or frankincense, something like that, will clear and cleanse them, because as I said, they're absorbing everything, even the negativity around you, they're absorbing, and to keep them clear and cleansed so that they continue working for you and that you're honouring them, it's a really good idea to cleanse them regularly. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and don't forget to like, comment or share if you did. Thank you so much. Bye.